Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to episode 4 of Bear Chats with me, Matt Hillier, aka the Humble Bear, talking all things mindfulness, mental health, spiritual well-being, anything to help you guys on your journeys, to help you in whatever way we can. And it's a great honor and privilege to introduce and have on the show today, Paul Makinson. Just an all-round amazing guy, someone who I've really connected with over the last year and a bit. And we're going to be talking about his journey. We're going to be talking about what he's bringing into this world and the magic that he creates in this reality. But before we start, we're going to do a little small meditation and consecration. So I invite all the listeners and the watchers to join, just to really connect into the energies, to connect into each other, and connect on the energetic basis. So if you'd like to just close your eyes and join me, and I just want you to bring your awareness to the breath, just feeling the breath as it travels in and out of the nose, not doing anything with it, just feeling that breath. And then following breath up the nose to the center of the forehead, the space between the eyebrows, just lightly resting the awareness in the space between the eyebrows, feeling any light sensations, any tingling. And then following the breath down the throat into the center of the chest, into the spiritual heart. Just resting the awareness in the spiritual heart, just feeling any expansion, feeling the love flowing from the heart. And just feeling the connection between myself and Paul and all those who are listening or watching, wherever they may be and whatever time they may be in. And then we're just inviting in all our spirits, all our guides, anyone who wants to help us in this podcast today, to guide us to the highest and best for all those listening, with the intention to help as many people as possible. And then just offering up any fruits, any energies, any lessons, any aha moments, up to higher power, whatever you choose to call that higher power, universe, source, God. Just offering it up without conditions, without reservations, for the benefit of myself, of Paul, of our higher selves, and of all sentient beings, wherever they may be, whether they're listening to this or not. Thank you. Yeah, much more connected now.
Yeah.
So it gives me great pleasure, great honor to introduce Paul Makinson. I met Paul just over a year ago in the lounge of Liam Brown it wasn't even full power cacao then, it was just a cacao ceremony in Manchester. And watching Paul's growth, we've been quite close since then, connected on a few different things, on ceremonies together, all kinds of bits and bobs. And it's been a privilege and an honor to watch Paul grow, and to change so massively on a mental level, on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, and really take my hat off to him for all the work he's put in, changing his life, changing the life of his now wife, and his daughter's life, and soon to be son.
Yeah, little boy, little Jimmy.
Yeah, so it gives me great honor and pleasure to introduce Paul to Bear Chats. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're welcome. It's when I first started this, I was like, I need to get Paul on, and I need to get you on. And so before we start, before we get into everything, I just really want to talk to you about like your journey. You know, how you got here. Who is Paul? For those of you who don't know your journey. Really to get the so that people, for people who can resonate with us, because a lot of people think, see us doing ceremonies and stuff. There's like, oh yeah, he's always been doing that, and it's like, no. There's a journey to get here. There's,
last August, mate.
yeah, exactly. It's like, we didn't wake up like this and suddenly, come out. We weren't born and gone like, it's like, but yeah, just really whatever you feel like sharing around your journey, just to help anyone who's listening understand where you've come from. Maybe they come from the same place or similar and they resonate with it. Just, who is Paul and what's your journey been thus far?
Well, I think as a kid, it's stuff that's really coming up for me at the moment as well, stuff that I'm having to delve back into and sort of sort out. As a kid, I was sort of like in the lack mentality, really brought up in this lack mentality sort of state. My dad were always like working away, truck driver, and we had a nice family unit, but we had lots of problems, like as families do. And coming from this, you work, you come home, you drink, obviously cause lots of problems, fucking drinking, and develop sort of like, well, you pick up on the stuff what you get from your parents, I think, don't you? So like growing up, ended up like using drinking as real coping mechanisms, definitely not being very joyous, like hiding my true self away a lot. I'm going through school and being bullied at school, not all the time, not constantly, but definitely having some rough times at school over like body image and maybe being a bit different or being a bit weird, and closing myself off, and then using drink and drugs growing older, like, and then finding that release through drink and drugs, like opening up through drink and drugs, but not in a nice controlled way, just in a sort of explosive, uncontrolled, not very healthy sort of way. That probably led into like unhealthy relationships growing up. Tried mainstream jobs. I managed to hold a mainstream job down for 6 years, from like 15 to 21. I were an HGV mechanic. That were just the eye-opening experience, like how fucked up like men are. Just the things that I heard and saw, like going through that sort of working with them guys, were just like, the abuse that them guys had to go through were fucking unreal. So they sort of like passed it down generationally. So, but in a way, I suppose working as a mechanic sort of toughened me up quite a lot, got me ready for a lot of stuff. Yeah, then sort of started finding music, but still always like pretty emotionally unstable. No coping mechanisms whatsoever, apart from like stellar, ketamine, cocaine, cannabis, ecstasy. And that went on for quite a few years. Yeah, and tried to find solace in music, really. I quit my job and then just really like delved into guitar. It were like, looking back, that were like meditation back then. It were almost escapism in a way, like, but also making up for where I'd been looked on as like weird or a bit different or whatever before, or not cool, not cool. Like, you get good at a guitar and people are like, oh, this guy's cool. So it were like, right, yeah, gonna fucking keep on at this. And then got in with some like older mates who were like a bit cooler, but definitely more into like the drug and drink. And then I had an opportunity to go work in France, do a couple of seasons in France. That was quite a big thing. Went and worked in France. I did washing up in kids' hotels and ski resorts. And And again, like came up against some of the things again about like, you know, being in social situations and maybe being a bit weird and not fitting in or like with groups of people and stuff. And but finding real like solace in going skiing, which were just man, so peaceful, so like beautiful, so yeah, you can just lose yourself in that, like a lot with the music. Yeah, came back from France and whatnot, came back a bit lost, came back to me mum and dad's, no money, blah blah blah. Yeah, started working in care homes, which I kind of got thrown into, which I learned a lot. I learned a lot of compassion, learned a lot about people. Learned quite a lot about mental health without really realizing it. Like there's and then I think I started to see a lot of like what's wrong. Started seeing a lot of like what's wrong with the world. Like these people in these care homes like needed help. They needed more. Also the staff needed more. And it was just like corporations like that. This is, you know, this person gets to go out for 1 hour a day. Like, that's fucked up, mate. You know, this person's doing that, give him this tablet. That's not right. And the staff getting beaten up, and then when people complain about being on minimum wage, like, you're just a number, like we can replace you with anybody, it doesn't matter. Like really sort of opened my eyes to things aren't quite right. And then started working in schools. Also had my first big relationship, which were like 5 years long, which were lots of ups and downs, lots and lots of good times, lots of really good times, but lots of ups and downs, and ended quite disastrously. But I think the ending of it sort of started to lead me on to where I'm at now, because through that relationship finishing and me reaching like new heights of probably drug and alcohol addiction and mental health issues, like led me on to sort of meeting Kaylee, my wife now. And then through meeting Kaylee, then we've gone on to have my little girl, Ellie. And yeah, that was the start, man. That was the start. Found out we were having Ellie. They were like, right, got to change, man. Got to sort the drinking out, got to sort the anger out, got to sort the mental health problems. I were on antidepressants then, I were on fluoxetine, which just really, like, along with the drink and drugs, just like really just fucking bottle everything up, just fucking turn me into this fucking ticking time bomb. So getting off the fluoxetine was like the first thing, and then yeah, started finding plant medicines. Someone were randomly on this job, and someone said, "Oh, if you ever," because I still like my drugs, I still liked ketamine and weed, and well, that was pretty much it really, ketamine and weed. But I were on this job, and somebody said, "Oh, if you like all these drugs and that, but you've never heard of DMT?" I was like, "No, I've never heard of it, mate." Started looking into DMT, and then that just opened up all this fucking wormhole. Tried that. Was probably one of the most horrific experiences of my fucking life. Like, ended up throwing myself off a bed, pulling myself under the bed, or throwing up and all sorts. But after it, I stopped drinking for a month. Like, for a month, stopped drinking. And then I'm kind of in and out of drinking, not drinking. Then I got to a Christmas, and I was like, yeah, I'm not drinking at Christmas. I'm not putting myself through that turmoil. But Ellie had been born by this point. And we had all sorts of trauma when Ellie were born, in like the height of COVID and stuff like that, which again were like eye-opening, like shit's not right. People, like, the general consensus is fucked up. Like things need to change. But then I found counselling. And like this bit's all like pretty like Ellie's 2 now, 2.5. So a lot of this is still like pretty recent. well, yeah, then I drunk all Christmas, like 4 or 5 days, like, you know, get up on the morning, let's have some cans, let's have some whatever's about. And then after that, just felt worse than I've ever felt in my life. We're really present with this feeling of like, maybe I'm going to end up doing, if this gets worse, maybe I'm going to end up doing something stupid. So I went down like the counselling route, and just after a bit of trouble with that, like actually getting the right counsellor, just life changing, man. Just talking, just found this medicine, this healing through talking. Just one woman, just this one woman who I didn't even like at first, and I thought, this ain't gonna fucking work, man. And she just listened, and let me. She was there while I could unashamedly release emotions and sit and cry for, like, whether it were an hour long, or, you know, whether that went on for an hour a week for a month. She would just sit and listen and just never judge, never say, well, I think you should do this, I think you should do this. She just fucking listened, man. And maybe a little bit of gentle guidance along the way. But I never had that before. Like, that's, unfortunately, that is quite unreal, like, in this world, for people to just sit and just take in what you're talking about and just fucking listen. Yeah, it were super, super powerful. And I've never met the woman, but I'm super grateful for her. But and then through that, like while I were doing the counselling, I started dropping into like meditation and breath work and cold showers, all things to looking into, try and like shift my mood, try and shift this fucking depression that I've been carrying for like, since I was a kid, really. Like, looking back, it was just for a kid, but, you know, people just tell you you're mourns, you're fucking miserable and shit. They don't actually acknowledge that maybe this person's got stuff that they need to work through. Because the idea of working through stuff just fucking won't there, or not in my awareness. Yeah, and then because like the DMT, I'd been looking, you know, like ayahuasca and stuff starts popping up, and then somebody told us about somewhere where somewhere where maybe having like plant medicine ceremonies, and then through that I ended up finding the Cacao Ceremony, which I read it wrong, and I thought it were a cocaine ceremony. I thought it was like coca, like the coca leaf, where like we were all going to sit and chew like leaves, and I don't know, I was just still wanting to get high, but find a spiritual meaning through it. Plus, I've done quite a lot of coke in my time, so I was thinking, like, you know, if I can maybe heal sort of through the spiritual side of these medicines, as opposed to like the corrupt, bad energy side of these medicines. Like, cut it 40 quid Cacao Ceremony. I had no idea, but like, I'm booking on this, Kaylee. Yeah, I'm booking on it. Yeah, booked on it, 40 quid, which were a lot of money back then. It still, you know, still isn't a lot of money. Depends where you're looking at it.
Well, it's an investment, isn't it? You know,
an
investment.
It was, yeah, it was one of the biggest investments in my life, man. It were, yeah, even like once I read up about the cacao, like, fucking, I wasted 40 quid in a fucking chocolate ceremony. Yeah, like, this is, Kaylee, I'm not going to this. And then it was like, I started reading up a bit about its connection to the earth and the spirit behind it. But actually, you know, this is something I probably need to do. Let's go do this. Went and did it, man. It just changed my life. Like, some of the memories, like, going into it, are so vivid. Like, the first time I ever smelled Palo Santo in there, and it were Joanna, who runs like the Wild Women stuff and who works with Liam at Stone Cold Sober. She like smudged me, and yeah, just these dead sympathetic, caring eyes. I remember speaking to Liam, like briefly going in. I was just petrified going in, man. Just petrified, room like full of 30 people. So anxious, and you know, it was the first time that I've been in a space where multiple people were heard. Multiple people had intentions, and people were real about stuff. Like, you know, not everybody were. I couldn't relate to everybody, but I could definitely relate to some people. And just the energies, like, it was just something else, man. I'd never had cacao before, and with the combination of like that, the talking therapy, what I was going through, I were in that time, I were in that place where I was destined to be there, and I were working through the stuff. It was all, you get given this stuff, like it's brought up to you. It's like put in your face and offered to you, like, you know, this is it, you can do this now. This is what you need. And through the meditation, I just started fucking screaming, and like, all the bad shit was just coming out. It was like time to release, you know, the stopping drinking. And then Paulina, who was just like the most powerful healer I've met, like, she did some work on me then, and spoke to me afterwards about sort of what had happened. And that just sort of, just all these pennies started dropping. Like, I didn't believe in like spirit or really energy and things like that. I didn't understand any of it, but that like started, like pennies started dropping when somebody you've never met before in your life tells you that, asked me if I'd stopped drinking, and asked if all my, one side of my family had always suffered from alcohol and stuff like that. It was like, how the fuck does she know this? How does she know? Like, there's more to it. There's more to it. She's not lying. And then, yeah, started doing more cacao ceremonies like that. The one after that, that's when I brought Kaylee along, because it was like, come on, we need to try this, because Kaylee's got her own story, man, where she's got like lots of trauma and mental health issues, and it's been important that we've like brought each other along together. You know, like couples don't always manage that, and they leave people behind, and we're like, no, we need to be, you know, you need to experience this. And so we went to that one, and then I proposed afterwards, because it was just like the connection was just, yeah, it just gone fucking next level.
I remember being there, you guys, and it was all so awesome, like experiencing you guys going through your own processes. Maybe sat to my left, and seeing you both go through your own processes, but then together as well. And I remember you like hugging each other and dancing together and holding each other. It was like really, really beautiful. And then you'd booked this hotel room, and it was like, and Liam, you know, Liam was like, oh yeah, take some cacao with you. And then the next morning gets like a message saying, oh yeah, I proposed to her, she said yes. Can you marry us? It's like, whoa.
I said,
what you said is, can you do hand fasting? And Liam thought that was some kind of diet.
You're like, bro, I don't know that much about fasting, but I'll try and help you if I can.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, that was magical. Yeah, go on.
We met loads of cool people. Abby were at that one as well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple more cacao ceremonies, man. What I found with the cacao ceremonies then was because of where I was sort of still at with like the depression and the lower mood sort of things, and like if I were down there and the cacao ceremony brought me up there, I didn't have the things in my life to maintain that sort of balance. I would find that, you know, I would sort of start dipping, and then after the next cacao ceremony, like, oh, we're back up there, or maybe even a bit higher, you know. But that sort of started to make me think that like there has to be things that we can do in between to stop these dips, to stop these crashes. It can't just be up and down, or I can't just be there wouldn't have been enough cacao ceremonies, you know what I mean, or enough time to. So it's these pennies that keep dropping and clicking into place. And then we did the on the cacao ceremony training. And that was just another life-changing sort of thing. That was the first. That's what got me off the weed. Like weed were just it was the last thing. It were fucking really helpful for helping me get off like the antidepressants and the ketamine and the alcohol. You know, it was there. It were almost like a tapering off sort of thing. But then like the reliance on the weed were just like fucking through the roof. You know, like waking up all day. And the cacao ceremony training thing was just that's what got me off the weed, like just elevating us, like through being in nature for 3 or 4 days and doing meditation, learning about things like consecration, like connecting to higher sources, learning about the cacao, learning just all these different things, just being in this super high vibrational environment.
This was Liam Brown's cacao facilitator training, right?
Liam's, man. It were right, we're the first one. We're just the perfect group of people that were there. And everybody working through stuff, man. You know, like there were Pam, who like just this beautiful, like, mate, she got the most beautiful eyes as Pam, and she's a bit older than me, and I look at her and she's like done all these courses, and it's like, you've got your shit sorted, you're like, you know, and then but then she'd be telling you, you know, you'd see the tears in her eyes, and it's like, we're all fucking here together on this, like each and every one's so different, but we're all doing this together. Yeah, that was the start of me doing my own cacao ceremonies and really starting to bring in mantras and the Kirtan, and changing like all my musical just changing the focus of my music, really. And then started smashing out my own ceremonies after that. Just finding out different ways to work. Like we started doing tapas, so we introduced tapas after that, like the 30 days of the tapas with the yoga, the meditation, the consecrations. So learning about tapas, and that's, you know, rolling into like me working with mantra now, which is.
Just before we get into that, just for anyone listening who doesn't know what tapas is, is in the yogic tradition. It's one of the niyamas, which is the second limb of yoga. So you have the yamas, the niyamas, then you have the asanas, which is what everyone knows of the stretching, and then pranayama, and then there's more follow that. But tapas is all around discipline and arduous effort, and it's, you know, agreeing to do a certain practice for a certain number of days, for a certain kind of outcome or aim. You know, it's like, right, I want to improve my focus, for example. Therefore, I'm going to do this meditation for 30 days every day in order to do that. And it's a commitment you make with yourself, you make with the spirit, with your higher power, and then, you know, that's you do it. I'm doing one at the minute with. I've just been on Liam's cacao facilitator training, which again is next level, even for someone who's already holding cacao ceremonies. I learned so much from it, you know. And then I do the Jiva Mukti Magic 10 every day, which is a short kind of 15-minute yoga sequence, 20-minute silent meditation, and then connect with cacao every day. So yeah, it's powerful, and it's something that, you know, that it's been really good for me to develop my discipline, to develop my focus, because like when I first started, it was like, yeah, I'll do this for a week, and then like 3 days in, I'm like, nah, like, you know, it's like that commitment is really grows that within us, and it's really, it's just powerful, you know. It's like it starts because it, for me, it's like when I started doing that in that area, then it started to bleed out into other areas of my life.
Yeah.
So the discipline then created discipline on my yoga mat, created discipline in my life.
Mm.
You know, from someone who was never finishing anything. You know, I never finished much in my life. Never,
Yeah.
never put 100% in. Always self-sabotage, because it was, for me, it was like, if I don't finish it, then no one can criticize it, or I've got an out. It's like someone says, oh, that's not good enough. It's like, oh yeah, that's because I didn't put everything into it. I didn't fully commit to it. So yeah, of course it's not. Yeah, of course it's not great. You know, that's fine. It's like if I put everything into something and I finished it, if someone said it wasn't good, oh my God, that hurt. You know, so subconsciously I would just automatically self-sabotage and be like, yeah, and I'll just, you know, not even realize I'm doing it. I'm not going to finish that. I'm not going to put into that.
Yeah, I'm quite a lot like that. I rarely finish things. Got lots of half-wrote songs.
Yeah,
that just sit there. I might come back to them a couple of years later and be like, oh yeah, I finished it now. But yeah.
So before we get into what you do now, because what you do now is unreal, and it's like, yeah, amazing. You talked a lot about depression and you know, being on antidepressants and stuff. Just talk to me a bit about what depression was for you. You know, because we ban this label around a lot, or people ban this label around a lot, and a lot of people don't necessarily understand what it is if they've not experienced it, or maybe they have experienced it but they didn't realize that's what it was. Or maybe they are experiencing it and they just think that that's normal and that they have to be like that.
Well, a lot of my patterns, I'm not blaming my dad. I'm not blaming my dad for a thing. But a lot of my patterns are sort of like copied off my dad. Without realizing at all. So it could be something really little could like piss me off. And then it would just be like, just fucking dropping. Like my whole mood, everything would just drop. Like stress, stress would sort of like be one of the biggest things of it, feeling like really stressed, irritable, ratty, could fly off the handle, just anything. Like mostly like behind closed doors, mostly like with the people that I love, the people that I were closest to, like they suffered equally as much as me. I would shut down. I would not talk, or drink excessively. I would not cry, really, especially not on the antidepressants. Just no joy, no fucking, you know, being bitter, being closed off, resenting of people, and that almost like spirals into like a bit of like definitely like into some OCD tendencies, of like trying to control things through trying to control things through aggression. And you know, if like, oh man, like Kaylee's only sat over there now, I would fucking fly off the handle if she didn't like rinse a plate off. Like, just that would be the end of the fucking end of the world. You know, just looking for excuses to be pissed off in like the menial shit. Just having like zero control over my emotions. Yeah, just being fucking miserable. But being sat in it for weeks and just waiting for it to pass. not having an understanding that there was anything that I could do about it. You know, like I tried having counselling a few times. One was CBT, and she just like sent me leaflets out in post. It were just, you know, no good. Not for where I were at the time. I went to another one, anger management, and I told her she was shit at her job. I said, you're not good at I probably really upset her, which I'm very sorry. But she gave me some fucking terrible advice. She told me if I were getting angry at work, I should go to the middle of a field and go scream. I was like, how am I supposed to do that? I'm working in a school. Like, well, I'm just sorry, but I need to go for an hour to just go find the field and scream, and it's not feasible, man. And yeah, you know, like people, you know, I get people at work saying like, oh, you know, commenting on how stressed I are and this, that, and other, and yeah, people like commenting on me, you know, maybe not talking and stuff like that, or yeah, and then that all that sort of like adds on to it, because then you're putting more pressure on yourself, or beating yourself up about, oh, why aren't I happy, or why aren't I like this, and blah, 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 you know, it snowballs, and you beat yourself up about all sorts of stuff, man.
I remember for me, it was like just being in this black hole of just, and feeling like I'd been in it forever. You know, even if it just been I'd been down for a day, I just felt like it was forever, and it was always going to be like this, and there was no way out. You know, and it was like, yeah, and it was like I just wasn't good enough, and everyone was going to find out that I wasn't good enough, and then they were going to disown me and disappear, and you know, this kind of like this snowball effect in my head would end up with me being like living on a box by the side of a river, living in a box by the side of a river kind of thing. Like that's where my head took me, you know, but it's just black hole of just sorrow and just pity, really.
I would have liked the box on the side of the road idea. I think mine were like more also sort of that I had people around me that were fucking bringing them down as well. Yeah. And that, you know, that's, yeah. It's just, you feel like you're bringing everybody else around. You see how much weight you're putting on other people's shoulders, man. It's, but you know, through, I don't know how your parents were like with you when you were younger, but you know, definitely my parents never showed me how to be open with emotions. I don't, well, because they're not, you know what I mean? Like they were never been shown how to be open with emotions. And I remember my mum and dad sort of like had a bit of a breakup once, and I were in car with my dad, and he were on the phone to my mum, and my mum was saying something to him about, well, you know, Paul's depressed, you know, you can't be putting him through this or whatever. And my dad went, well, maybe I'm depressed too. And I was like, probably fucking, you know. Yeah. Bit of a realization for the old man too, but you know, unfortunately, he's not ready for a cacao ceremony. Bless him.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, and you know, he talks about coming off of antidepressants because that's quite prevalent at the moment. I hear a lot of people talking about antidepressants and they want to come off of them. You know, a lot of people have spent a significant or a small or substantial part of their life on antidepressants, and you know, I've been on antidepressants and they kind of just numb the world. It's like that, okay, yeah, you don't feel, I didn't feel low anymore, but I also didn't feel happy either. You know, I just really feel anything. And I mean, I was quite fortunate, but I came off of antidepressants before I left rehab. So I came out with the 12 steps of support, which again is, you know, a lot of talking to people actually listening to me, going to 12-step meetings and have people actually listen to what's going on for me. You know, talking, you spoke about the power of talking. It's so important. And especially, I mean, we're really privileged as well, because as part of the spiritual community, people listen. There are people there who are quite happy to sit down and listen. You know, I can pick up the phone to the likes of you, to the likes of Liam, to the likes of our friend Greg, and just be like, mate, this is what's going on, you know, and they will actually listen. And not only that, listen and then be honest, like brutally honest sometimes. But yeah, so what was it like coming off of the antidepressants for you?
Okay.
And what helped? What was most beneficial for you?
Man, just knowing that I didn't want to go back on them, man. I just had this, I was just done with it. It's like a lot of it's a bit of a blur, because throughout coming off the antidepressants, I was still taking a lot of drugs and drinking a lot. I can't remember where were we living when I stopped.
And you rang the doctors for your prescription, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll take some more." And you're like, "I don't want any more. I don't. They're not helping me. They're not doing me a favor. You're right, go to the doctor."
Yeah, I can't remember what helped. I just had this sort of drive. When I tried stopping taking them loads, and I remember for the first week, I would always, like when I was with my ex, I would always feel like really good for the first week, and I'd be like really confident and be like, yeah, I'm feeling so much better now. This is ace. Like, and I was like, I remember one week I was feeling like I could sort of speak my truth a bit more. I wasn't just flat. I was like, you know, if something were up, I would be like, yeah, no, this is not right. But then after the first week, I would start getting ratty and I would start getting really shitty. And my ex would sort of say to me, like, you know, because she had 2 kids, and we all, you know, I lived with her and the kids, so we had to think about the kids as well. And she's like, you know, I think you should start taking your antidepressants again, like, you know, and neither of us knew about, you know, it wasn't like either of us could turn around and say, I think you need to try like meditating or, you know, cold showers or doing some breath work or talking to somebody. It was like, I think you need to get back on the antidepressants. But when I properly stopped, man, I fucking cried. I still cry a fair bit now. I'm still pretty emotional, which is fucking good. It's good. But I cried like every day, so much. Like I even like got to the point of being worried about going out because I was just going to like burst into tears. It feels like it was for about 6 months that it really took to get it all out of my system, man. Like, and I didn't go for any support of the doctors because I just sort of like lost all faith in them, to be honest. Like, they just left me on them for 5 years and never any real support, never any like, you know, I think we should try this or
yeah. And I think it's because they don't know.
Yeah.
They're not used to it, and they're given drugs to give out, and that's what they give out, and it's like,
they can't be because they don't know, man. Because look at fucking mental health now. Fucking look at the things. Look at, you know, male suicide rates and just the mental health is, people are more aware of mental health than they ever have been right now. So I think it's, you know, they probably, if you look at like turning point, what the turning point is, the place where I got referred to, well, not referred, where I put myself through for a referral, for the counselling, man, they must be inundated. But also a lot of the people who are on the tablets who want to get off the tablets, how do I say this? From where I were at previously, like, it's almost like there's that level of commitment's not there. Like, if you turn around to a lot of the people who are like, oh, I'm on antidepressants, my life shit, blah, 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 it's like, right, start exercising, change your fucking diet, start meditating, start doing all these things. go to counselling. A lot of it's not going to happen, is it? You know, that level, unfortunately, that level of commitment's not there. A lot of people that I know would still be in the mentality of, well, let's go to the pub, let's get a fucking bag. That's going to sort everything out, you know, let's go for a fight or fucking, yeah, it's, yeah.
And just, yeah, I mean, for anyone who's listening, who's maybe going through some of this stuff at the moment and experiencing some of these things, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be like that. You know, there are so many tools out there. There are so many different things, events, support out there, things that Paul does, things that I do, you know, just a little advice, techniques that we've used, techniques we've implemented, we've discovered like since then, you know, that have like changed our lives and like, you know, pulled us out of these. And I'm like you, like sometimes I wish that back when I was struggling, I had access or I had awareness, not access, because I've always had access, but awareness of this stuff, awareness of meditation, you know, awareness of breath work, awareness of people that are out there who just want to help, you know, and maybe there were people trying to reach out. I just wasn't ready for it. But I always felt like I was alone. And then suddenly this whole world opened up of people that were just, like you said, they just listened and they had these techniques. They were like, oh, look, this is what I did. Here's a little technique. Why don't you try that and see how you get on with it? And, you know, if it works for you, maybe do that every day, you know, and then, you know, come off of whatever you need to come off of and following you all, you know, once I cleared my mind, once I cleared the heavy stuff, I could then tap into that intuition and I go, oh no, this feels right. You know, this feels good and I'm going to carry on doing this and this doesn't feel good. So that's not for me. Because, you know, we're all different, all different things work for different people, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But yeah.
I do think that like experimenting with some of the plant medicines along the way has been a fucking really big part of it, man. Like the DMT, psilocybin, magic mushrooms, LSD, the cacao have all been amazing tools for helping my mental health. A lot of it I had to do unguided to try and figure it out because obviously the support's not there. Like if you could go to the doctors and you could say, right, I'm ready to come off my fluoxetine, I'd quite like to try microdosing though. Or if they could say, oh, maybe you could try microdosing, maybe we could support you with that, put you in a program. You know, these things that are grown from the fucking earth that are really good for you. And, you know, if we could support you through that and guide you through that and, you know, but a lot of it I had to do sort of on my own and figure shit out. And now I've got a pretty good understanding about, you know, the different levels of how psilocybin works and working with DMT and stuff like that. And that has definitely been a big shift, like microdosing with the psilocybin, like, yeah, super powerful, man.
Yeah, and obviously on these platforms I can't necessarily advocate things like that, but if anyone wants support or advice on any of those things, come speak to us. We can either help you or send you to someone who can help you, you know.
There's people out there who know about these things, that like the online communities, like you've only got to look on Facebook now, man, for a microdosing group, and there's people out there who will support you and will help you and talk you and guide you through things, man. But it's you know, one day like it's happening in America,
yeah,
like in some places, and you know, hopefully in the not too distant future they will be trying to help, and support and guide people with plant medicines.
Yeah, and these are plants, you know, they grow in nature, they grow around us, they grow, you know, they're just off the earth. Cacao, I mean, a cacao obviously it doesn't have the same legal status as them, but it is, you know, just as powerful in order to help us shift. come help us. Essentially, they're just helping us come back into balance with nature, right? With who we truly are.
Yeah.
With our natural state. And these are like, for me, they're like gifts that have been given to us by the earth. And just as much as corn and you know, all these other wonderful plants that we have as food, these are like expanding consciousness. You know, some of the greatest spiritual teachers out there are psychonauts, as they call them, you know. And it's like Ram Dass, you know, he was renowned for using plant medicines to expand his consciousness, and became one of the greatest spiritual teachers of our time.
Yeah, gotta love Ram Dass.
Yeah. So let's talk about what you're doing now, because I mean, I've witnessed your music change. You helped me with my music last year. I started learning guitar with you, which was awesome. Because I've never really been that musical, and you brought something out of me that was kind of like laying dormant for my whole life.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody learn as quickly as what you did. That was just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, a good teacher. I had a good teacher.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I witnessed. So obviously the music change, where and for me, from an outsider, experiencing as your mood has changed. So as you've overcome and you've released so much, and you've gone from what I perceived as, you know, someone who was suffering with depression to someone who's like in a good place, you know, consistently in a good place. And the music shifted with that, you know. It's like, or whether the music shifted you, or you shifted, or they've been in synchronicity or whatever, you know. It's like, wow. And the devotion I've seen in the music as well, with the mantra, with the songs you now perform, and now, you know, you're performing at festivals, you know, you're putting on these Kirtans, which is like devotional music. Even it's just wow, it's amazing. And that it's just the beginning. But talk to me about like how that's been for you, because it's, from the outside, it's been, I've experienced it, but it'd be interesting to see understand what it is from the inside.
It's been beautiful, man. It's like from like 19 when I first picked up guitar, it was like, yeah, rock star. Let's be a rock star. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a rock star. Yes, of course. And like the Libertines were one at first bands. Like Pete Doherty, like, you know, role model. what was it? The song that we used to play, what a waster, what a fucking waster, you pissed it all up the wall. That were like the songs that we were playing. That's the vibration, what we were like resonating at, you know. And all just all these songs that were like, well, low vibrate, like high energy, but the energy behind them, like the words, which, you know, not realizing how powerful speaking words was, especially when you're putting all that passion behind it. Just didn't have an understanding of that. And then moving on to like the mantra stuff, one of the mantras, I think it was Sita Ram in one of Liam's ceremonies, maybe like the third one that I went to, when I started like getting used to the mantras and learning the mantras. Because at first you sort of sit there and like, I have no idea what he's saying. I have no idea what it means. You know, maybe shaking a maraca or something like that. And then by the third ceremony, I was like belting out Sita Ram. I think that's when he'd got his harmonium by then, hadn't he? And yeah, there was just this feeling. I wasn't sure what it was, but there was just this feeling behind it. Just being able to belt it out, and it wasn't like I was competing to be the loudest, but it was just adding. We were all adding to it. We're all adding to this song. It was like what Liam were doing were more important than what I were doing. Liam were just like we were following his beat. But whatever anybody else wanted to add to it, they could add to it, and it were all about building the energy. and then started learning about like the Ganesha mantra, like removing of obstacles, and sort of seeing that work in my peripheral and in my day-to-day. Because I think what this is my perception of how the Ganesha mantra works is when you start working with it, it will like almost like jump in front, like, and say like, right, this is what I've done, this is what I can do, and like, because it's the removal of obstacles, and it shows you something in your life, and it's like bam, then it's gone. And then the more that you delve into it, then the more you start to realize that actually the obstacles that you're removing are actually the obstacles around me, but they're the obstacles like within me, spiritually. And so then you really start connecting to the mantras, and the repetition, and like the harmonium, the vibrations of the harmonium, and being able to bring Kaylee along with me, like it's been difficult. Like when we're trying to do a Kirtan and then Ellie's setting a pair of sunglasses on fire in background, like she's jumping on, she physically won't let Kaylee play the guitar. But it's been just seeing the development in my family, that and the confidence that it's brought to Ellie, the being able to work it together as a family, seeing how it's brought Kaylee's musical development and confidence along as well, and for us to be able to play music together. It's like, like you look at couples, there are, I can't think of many couples really, like Johnny Cash and June Carter, that played together, and you're like, yeah, that's connection, man. That's connection. Like you could see through the music, you could see from playing with each other, like how much they loved each other.
And I've experienced that with you guys.
Yeah. And that everything that we experience through the music, like we're sending it out, and like a lot of it, I have my eyes shut, so I don't even know what's going on. But when you open your eyes and you see like people like really getting into it. It's mate Andy who does the Jar Jar visual, the photography, like you met him, he did a Stone Cold Summer Festival. He came and did a video for us, man, and he put it together, and like that was the first time I'd ever seen myself in that light, being in this and seeing everybody into it, and seeing everybody like really deeply engrossed in this music. And no drink about, no drugs. That's a really big part of it. No drink, no drugs. No, for me, like no weed, no anything, which has always been a really like crucial part of getting into the music. Like, I've been at festivals and like run out of money, run out of everything, run out of drugs, run out of beer. It's like, we've got a bottle of poppers left. We're going to cling on to like the very last thing. A song's starting, yeah. Anything to just drop you deeper into the music. But really, like with the Kirtan, we're removing all of that. Maybe like with the cacao, maybe sitting with the cacao, but really it's just like, just seeing how deep this vibration can drop you.
And yeah, it's super powerful, because so for those that haven't experienced Kirtan, most of it's sung in Sanskrit, which is ancient language, but it's a vibrational language. Like English and modern languages are kind of from the nose, like they're kind of very heady. Whereas like Sanskrit is like from the heart. And like I was the same as you. I turned up to Liam's yoga retreat, never having sung mantra in my life. Like to start with, I was like, "What's this? This is weird, but it feels good with everyone singing." Yeah. So I was singing along, and I think again, Sita Ram was one of my favorites. And then I'd always believe I couldn't sing and things like that, but belting it out, and it's not like like you said, it's not like you're competing because you want to be the loudest. It's like, I want to sing this louder because I want more of this vibration. I want more of this. It's just making me feel so good. And like mantra, it's so powerful. I've been chanting the Ganesh mantra online for 7 days. every day, just online on Facebook and Instagram, just a live. I do a live on Instagram in the morning and then a live on Facebook in the evening, just to get it out to people, because it shifts your perceptions, it shifts your illusions, the obstacles which are truly just in the mind, and it's really powerful. And then when you play it, when you couple that with, and I've experienced this, when you couple that with a harmonium, the guitar, all the skills and the attributes that you add to it, and your voice as well, like, wow, like the power, it's just, you have people sitting there and you see the tears running down their face and like a bit joyful, like really like, wow. And we, so powerful. And we did it, we did the ceremony together a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like a Cacao ceremony with Kirtan. It was like, poof, wow. The
energies just work like so well.
Yeah.
Before the facilitator training, I've never even like played a harmonium or anything like that before. And just on last day when we were hanging about and waiting to go home, and Liam's like, "Oh, can you figure out chords to this song?" I think it were Almost Satona.
Yeah.
By the time he'd come back out, I got chords off internet, and then I looked how to play the chords on the harmonium. So by the time he'd come back out, I'd sort of like taught myself how to play harmonium, and it was like, right, yeah, this is all right. Came back and I was like looking around for harmoniums on internet, and there were one in next town for 250 quid. I'm like, can't really afford that. A week later, it's dropped out at 200 quid. And then I said to Kaylee, like, expecting her to, give me a bit of shit, like, "Oh, Paul, I can't afford that." I was like, "Kaylee, I'm going to get this harmonium." And she was like, "Okay." Like, this is meant to happen.
Oh yeah. You were born to play that instrument. You were born to play mantra.
Yeah.
Like, super and super powerful. And like, it's so funny you talk about that experience with Liam, because he's now like, oh, like, yeah, if I need to know a song, Paul teaches me.
Yeah, I'm still I've been supposed to be teaching him another one since last time I saw him, that I ain't got around to yet.
Oh, he's all right. He's got plenty.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He can figure one himself.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, for anyone who hasn't experienced Kirtan, whether that be with Paul, I highly recommend it with Paul, or if you're not, Paul's in Wakefield, and that surrounding areas. But even if you're in somewhere else, like, look it up. It's spelled Kirtan. It's devotional singing, but it's like really happy. It's like, yeah, I go to ones in Brighton. They're beautiful. And there's always the most amazing people there. I've been on my own before and just bumped into, like, oh, these are so cool. I'm gonna go and chill with these guys. But so what's coming up for you guys? Like, I'm really excited to see where your guys going, because I mean, you guys are going to be literally headlining festivals in a matter of not long at all. Like, 100%.
Kaylee, come here and I'll show you what's coming up. Where is it? This is what's coming up.
Yeah.
Which is my little boy.
Yeah.
So that's, at the moment, that is taking priority over everything. Just trying to manage around that and just really putting my focus into just being there for Kaylee and Ellie as well, because that'll be a big transition. But we do have, we got the last ceremony, because me and Kaylee have been doing ceremonies together as well, but with this, man, working it around family life and not having like many babysitters, it's been a bit tricky. But we got a ceremony this Saturday at a place called Copley Woods, which is going to be super nice. It's like this, they're old like weddings and stuff there, and they've got big gazebos, and we're at an outside bit, which has got a fire pit in the middle. So this is going to be the last Cacao ceremony that me and Kaylee all together, which I think is going to be really special, that she's like set to burst sort of thing, like just the energy that it brings with the baby as well is super powerful. But yeah, we're really looking forward to that, bringing the meditation, the mantra, the cacao. There's a lot of new people coming to that as well, so it's always good to get new people. It's always daunting to do it in front of new people, I think, as well, because they don't know the mantras and they're new to it all. But everybody always I've not had any complaints yet from any cacao ceremonies, man. Each and every one's been beautiful and special and super powerful. Collaborations are a big thing at the moment, like doing some online stuff with Shakti Tracy. Where she's bringing like the shamanic drumming and a breath work. We're doing a online ceremony on the 8th, like the peak of the Lionsgate portal, to help trying to help anybody like transmute these energies and work with manifestation, because these energies at the moment are like, personally, I'm going, like, all the stuff's getting dragged up like all the way right from the root. Right from the root, right to the heart, and it's all like coming up to be sort of shifted and worked with. It's a really brilliant time to be working with anything that we need to be shifting through now. So like, if people do need support in these times, like doing the work on your own, sat at home, like, you know, listening, meditations, breathwork and everything is great, but when you get into these group energies, man, it's like, when you get into these group energies, and then I've been listening to Abraham Hicks, and something that she said on one of the things is, so like, when we're in these groups and somebody brings up a question or somebody brings up an intention and maybe you feel it resonate with you, and when they're shifting it not just for you, but they're shifting it for everybody in that room, and not just for everybody in that room, but for everybody in the fucking planet. You know, we're trying to raise that vibration for everybody.
Yeah, which is why we do the consecration, right? At the beginning of, you know, when we offer it up to a higher power, we offer it for the benefit of everyone. It's like, that's what we're all about. We're all about doing this for, not just for us, it's for the world, for the generations to follow as well.
That's what I think, that makes it easier sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, you know, we're not just doing it for personal gain. We are doing it to try and better as many people as we can. I just got a message back from what's it called, Knaresborough Wellness Festival. I think I'm going to be running like some cacao stuff there, which in like September, which is going to be cool. So I think I'm going to get the chance to do like some Kirtan and run maybe some little cacao ceremonies and sell some cacao, which will be nice. All in all, plans for the future are just seeing what comes, man. Like,
whatever you do, it's going to be gold dust, and it's going to be musical, and it's going to be magical. And I'm super excited to witness it. And so I'll drop, for everyone listening or watching, I will drop the links to Paul and Kaylee's stuff all in the comments, so everyone can follow them on social media, get in touch with them if you're interested in anything they've been talking about, anything that Paul's doing, and you want to know a little bit more, reach out. If anyone needs any support from me or is interested in anything I've been speaking about, please, I'll drop my details below as well. Is it below? I can never remember whether it appears below or above. So somewhere there will be details of everything we do in order to support people. If there's something we're speaking about and we don't have personal experience with it, we will know someone who does have personal experience with it and can help you and can support you in that, if that's something you choose to follow. So please, like Paul said, talking is so important. Like opening the throat chakra, if you believe in that. In the energy systems, the throat chakra is like, for me, is like the clearing house for the lower chakras. So in order to clear the lower chakras, we need to speak about it and we need to express it. So it's so important. Please, if you are struggling, or if there's anything you're going through or anything you want to know more of, just reach out to us. And we're always here to help. Like Paul said, we are just, sometimes these things, a lot of people who aren't necessarily in the spiritual community maybe think, oh, they're just doing it for financial gain or whatever. No. Like, that's kind of a byproduct. Like, yeah, great. But actually what I do, and I know what Paul does, is to try and help as many people as possible in whatever way we can. So yeah, please do reach out. But yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Paul. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for being vulnerable as well and sharing about, you know, the stuff that you've been through. It's really important for people to hear that. It's really important for people to understand that there's a way out, you know, that it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to suffer, you know, there's support out there, because it can feel really lonely and it can feel like you're the only one that's going through it. So thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been amazing to have you on. I'm really looking forward to meeting Jimmy. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I know that it literally is due to drop any time.
He's supposed to get this birth pool on Wednesday, and then he can come then. I've asked him to wait till Wednesday.
But yeah, thank you so much, Paul, for coming on. Is there anything else you wanna say before we go?
Just in our time, just look up some mantras.
Yeah.
Just look up some mantras. Just sit and say, close your eyes, take a few breaths. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And then check how you feel.
Yeah. If anyone's interested in mantras, jump on my social medias. I've been doing it every day for 7 days with the Ganesh mantra. I've just started 7 days with the Kali mantra, who's a bit more potent, shall we say. It's going to shift some stuff. So I'm ready for the Lion's Gate. So if you want to chant with me in the mornings, please feel free to jump on. But yeah, once again, thank you so much, Paul. So excited to see what's coming. Thank you. Namaste. Aho. Shalom.
Oh,
Awesome. Cheers.
thank you very much.